Jai Jagannath, here we are. Bhagavad Gita, chapter 17, verse 11. In the first verses of chapter 17, Krishna has discussed about the food preferred by people who are in Sattva, Rajas, Tamas, and of course the food that create also Sattva, Rajas, Tamas. That it's a circle, it's a double direction. When we are in a particular guna, we are attracted by the objects that are influenced by the same guna. When we move on and we associate with a different guna by choosing objects and activities that are in the other guna, also our tendencies change, because we change habit, and habit transforms our nature. So are there any questions, objections, and observations from the previous verses?
No, I think we discussed in detail.
I think you were saying something like, what happens if we don't have any choice? We eat sattvic food, but then we do tamasic things like watching bad stuff on YouTube and similar, not so sattvic choices. So, you remember?
Yeah. So we discussed whatever we can say we have to. It's not that okay if we are not
Yeah, I
able
mean,
to.
I was making the example like we are in a ship, in a boat that is already drowning, better in a house that is already flooded. So what's why should we all open all the taps? So because it's already flooded. So that's a little more water is not going to change the situation. In fact, it's better that we make some, honest efforts, sincere efforts. Maybe we cannot pull ourselves out of tamas right away, but we can use a little rajas to pull ourselves out. Like, for example, this is the reason of the Palashruti. The Palashruti are those verses that accompany the stutis or the prayers or devotional poems or whatever that promise material benefits to those who recite the prayers and the mantras and the stutis and everything. So this is a little bit of rajas that is offered to tamasic people to encourage them to move towards sattva and towards spiritual life, with the promise that they will have some material benefit. So desire and greed are typically rajas, but the end benefit is sattva or shuddha sattva. Okay. Now, from verse 11 onwards, Krishna is continuing, go on talking about the yagyas, the different types of yagyas that are performed by people under the various the three gunas. Now, some people are think that someone who engages in yagyas must be sattvic, must be a divine personality, a person with divine characteristics, and situated in sattva, if not in Shuddha sattva. But we have seen in chapter 16 that even asuras perform yajnas. Only the type of yajnas that the asuras perform are not prescribed in the Shastra, and they are actually horrible, such as animal sacrifice, such as, mutilations, such as, very harsh austerities that create suffering, cause suffering for the body and the mind. One's body and mind, and the body and mind of other people. Those who are not divine or sattvic, they are just tamasic. Now, we see here, Krishna is saying, the yajna that is performed without aspiring to obtain selfish results, but is directed by proper knowledge, out of sense of duty, and with full concentration of the mind, is in sattva. So if someone is performing a yajna for the purpose of obtaining some selfish result, that's not sattva. Now, some people think, and say that the karma kanda of the Vedic literature and the Purva Mimamsa, and all the rituals prescribed in the Vedas and the Varnashram Dharma are performed by people who have material desires, materialistic people. So they equate the word karmi with the idea of someone who is greedy and materialistically attached and does religious activities out of materialistic desire. Some people even say that those who worship the devas are doing that because they have materialistic desires, or they have materialistic mentality. This is not a fact. Worshipping the devas is always a good thing. The yajnas are always a good thing. All types of yajnas are always a good thing. The problem is why we do the yajnas, the mentality, the consciousness, our consciousness. So, if someone has materialistic desires and prays Krishna, that means that he still has materialistic desires. Or if he refuses to pray, to offer yajna to the representatives of Vishnu or the devas, and then goes to worship some politician or some wealthy person or some powerful human being or even some asuras, that is not better than the people who worship the devas properly, with the sense of duty, with the proper knowledge, and with the proper motivation and intention. So that verse that these confused people bring on is a famous verse that says that those who worship the devas, Krishna will say in Gita, those who worship the devas by considering them separate from me, are actually materialistic people, and they're worshipping me but with insufficient knowledge. But that is not due to the fact that someone is worshipping the devas. It's due to the fact that they worship the devas by thinking that they're separate from Vishnu. That is the problem. So, and the reason why they're worshipping the devas. So some people are worshipping the deity of Krishna so that they can get a career into a mat. You know, they can get some benefits, they can get some recognition, name, fame, adoration, profit. That is also not transcendental, not even sattvic. It is the yagya. Yagya includes worship, upasana. You know, that is performed without aspiring to obtain selfish results. Means we don't care if we get a donation or not. We don't care if we attract rich people who will give money to the organization. You know, we do because of a sense of duty, with the proper knowledge and the full concentration of the mind. We know what we're doing. We have our relationship with God. That's all. We can help other people to become attracted to God, but not because they will give us some money. So we should treat everyone exactly in the same manner, whether they're rich or they're poor or, you know, whatever, without expecting any result for ourselves. You know, many people are using the deity of Krishna as a business instrument, you know, to make money. That is not sattvic. Okay. So let's go number 12. O best among descendants of Bharata, know that the ritual sacrifice that is performed out of self-righteousness or to get selfish materialistic results is classified under rajas. So again, it's not saying who you're worshipping. But we know from another verse that Krishna says, those who are in sattva worship the devas. And Vishnu is also called Deva. So both Vishnu and the devas. That is sattvic. Those who are in rajas prefer to worship asuras. And those who are in tamas prefer to worship ghosts. Now, I have seen a very bad translation of this verse, which made me very angry, that says, the same verse that is completely twisting it around and says, those who are in sattva worship God, Vishnu. Those who are in rajas worship the devas. So, nope. That's not what the verse said. You know, if that is Bhagavad Gita as it is, they have to review what they think, because that's not as it is. The point is, the sattva, rajas, tamas is our consciousness. It's not the person we worship. Of course, if we don't have the proper knowledge, why should we worship the asuras? You know, because we don't have the proper knowledge, but we think, we believe, we know that the asuras will give us something in return because they are powerful. So, and when we are in tamas, we have no knowledge. We think anything that is more powerful than us is God. You know, if we are in rajas, we think that asuras are God, because asuras are promising special favors. So stupid people, ignorant people worship them thinking they're God. So the Asuras, they are based on duality, the daityas. Deity means duality, means division. We have seen in chapter 16 the Deva and Asura mentality. The Asuric mentality is very divisive. It's thinking us and the others, me and the others. We have enemies. I have enemies. So I am going to destroy the enemy. I will be, I am powerful. I am holy. I am doing a lot of religious things because I have destroyed those who are not on my side. So we see that this mentality has been applied to God, who has a chosen people. Because the chosen people are loyal and obedient to this entity, then that entity is going to reward them and give them the power over everything and everyone, all over the earth. And that entity wants his followers, his worshippers, to destroy all the enemies of God. And this absurdity has become so deeply ingrained in the global mentality that people think that this is religion. This is a normal religion. That is actually God. We know that that entity is not God, of course. Because when we see Krishna in Bhagavad Gita, he is very clearly saying, I do not favor and I do not hate anyone. God has no enemies. How can God has enemies? Bhagavad Gita is saying we should not have enemies. We should not see anyone as enemies. So how come that, some people can think that God has enemies? And what is the enemy? What is the fault of these enemies of God? They don't worship him. So, well, that is Rajas and Tamas, So the ritual sacrifice that you performed out of self-righteousness, we are the best. We are the only ones. We are the monotheistic. We are the only real religion. Everybody else is delusional, are worshipping Satan, or wrong, heretic, whatever. And to get selfish materialistic results, like we are the only representatives of God, so we get fame, name, adoration, and profit. Under the form of donations, taxes, jizya tax, TT tax, whatever, that is why they worship this entity, because this entity promised them, the promised land, the promise this, the promise that, special favors. That is Rajas. Any questions about this?
In this context, the heaven and hell which that entity promises,
Yes.
can it be real? Because you said that Asuras can give favors, so is that concept of hell and heaven, is it definitely not hell, but heaven, is it real if they follow those Asuric instructions?
Okay, both hell and heaven are real to a degree, to a point. We have mentioned several times that hell, Naraka, in the Vedic knowledge, hell, Naraka, is described as a temporary situation in which a criminal is given the opportunity to become aware of the seriousness of his crimes. But as soon as he becomes aware of the seriousness of those crimes, and he wants to atone, then he can take birth again and work on his karma and show and demonstrate and put it in practice. In the Abrahamic mentality, the hell is a punishment for those who didn't believe and obey God. Naraka has nothing to do with believing and obeying God, with not believing or disobeying God. Has nothing to do with that. So in the same way, in Abrahamic religions, when you commit a crime, it is God that is supposed to forgive you or not. You ask forgiveness from God. In the Vedic perspective, God doesn't care. Krishna Bhagavad Gita says, I do not care. Nadate Prabhu. God doesn't care about the punya or the papa of the human beings. It's just the karma. So if we commit a crime, we should not, against someone, we should not ask forgiveness from God, but we should ask forgiveness from the persons, the people, the beings that we have damaged. And asking forgiveness is not sufficient just to ask, just to speak. We need to compensate. We need to repay. We need to atone for our crime not by torturing ourselves, punishing ourselves, but by working sincerely for the benefit of those we have damaged. In the same way, Swarga is not exactly heaven. In the Abrahamic idea, it's very confused. They think that God is there somewhere up on the clouds, and all those who go to heaven, they are just sitting around with God, and enjoying life. Because as a reward, because they were good servants of this God. They obeyed, and were loyal, they prayed, they did whatever the priest told them to do. Now, this has nothing to do with Swarga. In Swarga, someone who has, a human being who has qualified himself to become, to take birth among the devas, of course he is going to enjoy life, but that's not the purpose why you go to Swarga. You go to Swarga to work together with the devas in the administration of the universe. It's not a reward. It's upgrading of your qualification. Of course, the conditions of life are better, because it's a sattvic place and you have, accumulated some good karma, some punya, and then, it means you have a good life. But that happens also on this planet, in this life, in this human life. If you have good karma, you can have a very good position. You can enjoy much better than other people who have bad karma. But that's not a reward from God. You understand the difference?
Yes. But my question was, as you mentioned earlier, that Asura can provide favors if one worships them.
Yes.
In this case, when we are comparing this mentality of their god with Asuras, so can he provide that sort of
Of course, of course.
heaven
That's
which
the Bilaswarga, the places where these asuras live, these entities live, the asuric entities live, They're called Bila Swarga because they are just like Swarga, but there is no sunlight. So they actually are under the earth. They're subterranean. And people there, human beings who worshipped these, these entities, these asuras, they are accepted to go and live there for exactly like in Swarga, but there is no dharma there. There is no sunlight. There is no, some of the asuras can even worship God. Like for example, Bali Maharaj. He lives in Patalaloka, which is one of these Bila Swargas. And because he's a great devotee of Vishnu, he has built a temple for Vamana Deva. Vishnu in the form of Vamana, near his palace, his house, and he's worshipping every day. And the asuras, they also do yagyas. Like you remember the, Sukracharya, for example, he is very expert in doing yagya. But they're not worshipping the devas, of course. They are worshipping some forms of God that are, more, conducive, more, they feel more attracted to, like, for example, Bhairava and Bhairavi. That doesn't mean that Shiva and Shakti are demonic. No, they're not asuric. They're not in rajas or tamas themselves. But it is the people who are in rajas and tamas, especially asuras and those who go to be with the asuras, that have more attraction to Shiva and Shakti because they want to get selfish materialistic results. So you have seen in the Puranas lots of stories, like Banasura. Banasura did a lot of, tapasya and yagya. He was praying Shiva like anything until Shiva came and said, okay, what do you want? And Ravana was a great devotee of Shiva, but because he wanted something. He wanted power. Still, he was performing yagyas for Shiva. He was performing seva for Shiva. That's not, the Abrahamic idea is heaven or hell. No. Hell is something different. Naraka is different. There is Swarga, the Surya Swarga and the Bila Swarga. The Aditya Swarga and the Bila Swarga. Aditya Swarga is the higher planets. Maharloka, Indraloka, Tapoloka, all these higher planets. They're all Swarga. And under the earth, there are other 7 lower Bila Swarga, Atala, Patala, and Tala, and all of them. You have seen the picture of the Virat Rupa with Vishnu, with all the lokas. There are like the 7 Bila Swarga are the lower chakras below the Muladhara. In Vishnu's body, in the body of Virat Rupa. So the 7 chakras that we know on the human level are the human planets. And then above the human planets, there are 7 Svarga, Aditya Svarga planets. that are above the Sahasrara chakra. Are you following?
Yes.
Okay. Is that clearer now?
Yes.
So, in fact, when Krishna says those who worship the devas go to the devas, those who worship the rakshasas, asuras, go to the asuras. Those who worship the ghosts go to the ghosts. Those who worship the pitris go to the pitris, and those who worship me come to me. Because there are lots more diversity in the universe and in the various dimensions. It's not just heaven or hell and the earth. Okay. It's much more complex. So the Pitriloka is one of the Svargas. It's the home of Dharmaraj, Yamaraj. Yama is one of the devas. But the Pitris are not devas, are not born among the devas. Those who are born among the devas are the virtuous people who have attained the consciousness level of the devas. Otherwise, they cannot take birth there. Even if God is happy with them, you're not going to Swarga just because God is happy with you. If you don't have the proper consciousness, you're not going there. And the same, it's about Vaikuntha, the spiritual world. Vaikuntha, Goloka, whatever. If you don't have the proper consciousness, if you have not transcended the material identification, if you have not realized Bhagavan, you cannot go to Vaikuntha. Vaikuntha is not a physical place. You cannot take a spaceship to go there. The spaceships that go to Vaikuntha, they're not material spaceships. They're forms of consciousness. Just like the bodies and the trees and everything. Everything is spiritual. Everything is pure consciousness. That's why the houses are not real houses. Real in the sense that they're not material houses. They're made of the Chintamani stone. What is a Chintamani? What is the meaning of Chintamani? It's not a particular type of stone that we can, quarry on this planet. Mani, Chinta means the mind. It's a jewel made of consciousness. So everything is consciousness. Your body, your things, your clothes, your house, the trees, the cows, everything is consciousness. Everything is Atman, Brahman. I don't know, is that clear? I understand it's a little difficult.
But yeah, understandable.
Okay, so the important thing that we take from this verse is that Rajas still remains when someone is performing ritual sacrifices, but not because we are performing the ritual sacrifice, the yajna. It's because we are self-righteous and we want selfish results. So even if someone is chanting the Maha Mantra and doing the Bhakti Sadhana out of self-righteousness, they want to have the Dandavat Pranam from other people, they want to have special accommodation or other stuff like that. Well, that's Rajas, that's not Sattva. That's not, what to speak of transcendental, that's not even Sattva. Anyway, let's continue. Let's see the tamas then. Ooh, wow. Okay, 13. A religious ritual that is performed without knowledge, without chanting the proper mantras, without faith, without the sanctification of food, or without offering gifts, must be considered as belonging to tamas. So you go, most temples in India, yeah, well, that's kind of the picture of Kali Yuga there. Without knowledge, they don't know what they're doing. They are just chanting, and they go to the gita path, and they have no idea what's been recited, because they're talking among themselves all the time, and whatever. They think that just by sitting there, they get the benefit. Without chanting the proper mantras, yeah, well, it takes a little more than than what people usually do. Without faith, yeah, well, we say that we are Brahman, and then we classify people, by identifying them with the material body. So where is the faith? We talk about reincarnation, and we don't believe in reincarnation. If someone, someone is coming with the diction name, they say, no, but what is your real name? Okay, so how much faith do you have in the process of Divya Jnana and Bhakti if you think that the diction name is not my real name? Not much. Don't think much. Without the sanctification of food, the sanctification of food, but also the food must be distributed to the people. And without offering gifts. Gifts to whom? That's another interesting thing. Gifts to everyone. Because the religious ritual is not just for the satisfaction of a particular form of God, it's for the satisfaction of all the forms of God. Including all the living beings. When Krishna in Gita says so many times we should work for the benefit of the living beings. Yeah, then we do the puja, and then, we refuse to distribute the prasadam because, we want to be paid for that prasadam. Okay, that's not, that's not the idea. So, Thomas. I'm sorry, am I too brutal?
No, that's
A
what
little
Krishna is
bit.
saying.
A little bit. I know, because usually people, they don't think along these lines. They think, let 1,000 flowers bloom. Yeah, okay, sure. I'm not going to go and blow up the garden, but we need to make a distinction between Deva and Asura, and between Sattva, Rajas, Tamas, because that's what Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita. Then we are coming to the austerities. Okay, that's also another very interesting topic. Let's see. Oops. No, it's too much. Okay. Verse 14. It is said that the austerities of the body are the worship offered to God. Means to God and to the Devas. Okay? Because Deva, Dvija, Guru, Pragya. Deva is God and all the gods. Dvija is to those who are twice born. So Brahmana, Kshatriya, and Vaishyas. Those who are actually qualified as such. Guru, of course, the real Guru. Pragya, those who are realized, who are wise and have knowledge and apply the knowledge. pujanam, offering worship. Now, this is another thing that many people don't understand. What is the meaning of puja? Especially Abrahamics are very confused because they think that because we offer puja to the cow, we think that the cow individually is God. But we offer puja to everything that represents God. But just like Krishna in Gita is saying, I am the taste of the water, I am the smell of the earth, I am this and I am that. What does that mean? That means that we offer puja, we offer worship, respect, affection, homage to all the manifestations of God. Okay, so the Deva, Dvija, Guru, Pragya are manifestations of God. Because they are benevolent, they're beneficial, they're, they have affection, they love us, they support us, they help us. And that's the quality of God. Okay. Then, as well as cleanliness, simplicity, functioning on the transcendental level and abstaining from hatred. So cleanliness is socham, which is cleanliness of purity, both physical and mental. Arjavam, simplicity, not get complicated, not get entangled in politics or, gaming, making games and dramas and, theater and stuff. Very simple. We need to be very simple, very straightforward. Brahmacharyam. Brahmacharyam means functioning on the transcendental level. Also abstaining from lasting activities, because when we see everyone as Atman, as Atman Brahman, we don't think, it doesn't come to our mind to try to exploit their bodies for our personal pleasure. So, when we see, for example, you see your mother, you don't see her in a lusty manner, because you see her as your mother, not as a woman, or your sister or whatever. The same for women, they don't see the father as a, object of lust and so on. So Brahmacharya means seeing the person, seeing the soul, of the person, seeing the people we are looking at, we see them as persons, not as bodies. Okay, so Brahmacharya. Ahimsa, which means abstaining from hatred and violence. These are the austerities. The austerities of the body. Okay. Then we have the austerities of the speech. Verse 15. The austerities of the speech are the practice of sadhana and the study of Atmavidya, and speaking in a truthful but pleasing and peaceful way. Okay, so without trying to agitate people, without agitating people. Practice of sadhana means mantras, mostly. And the study of Atma Vidya, of course, is a study of, the Shastra. And speaking in a truthful but pleasing and peaceful way. It's a practice. We make an effort. Satyam priyahitam, affectionate way. Some without the intention of insulting people, mistreating people. We can just say the truth, but affectionately. Is this clear?
Yes.
Any questions here?
No.
Okay. Then we go for the austerities of the mind. It is said that the austerities of the mind are the purification of one's nature. Bhava, it is mana prasadam, somyatvam, monam, atma vinigda, bhava, samsuddhi. Bhava can mean nature, emotions, way of being, the mode, the modality of our existence, what we stand for, the purification of one's nature. Self-control, not controlling the others, self-control. Kindness, serenity, and ability to remain in silence. Self-control is atma vinigraha, managing oneself. Monam, being able to remain in silence. Somyatvam, kindness in the sense of gentleness. Mana prasadam, serenity. When someone is satisfied, is in himself, the mental satisfaction means that you are peaceful. If you are peaceful, it means you're satisfied. If someone is always trying to fight and create problems, it means he's not satisfied. His mind is not satisfied. Okay. So we have more quotes about the personal evolution through yoga, through all these verses, about controlling one's mind, training one's mind. Okay. 17. Religious austerities that are performed by human beings can be of three types. Those austerities that are not aimed at obtaining a selfish result are considered sattvic. Again, not selfish. 18. Austerities that are performed in this world to obtain prestige and admiration and to be worshipped by others out of self-righteousness are said to be rajas and are unstable. So that's not going to go on for very long. At some point, they will explode. 19. The foolish austerities that are performed with great effort by torturing oneself or to cause damage to others are said to be in tamas. There is also another verse that I like a lot, when Krishna says that is Raja Vidya, Raja Guhyam, Pavitram Idamuttamam, Pratyakshagamam Dharmyam, Susukam Kartum Avyayam. This Dharma sadhana of the Raja Yoga is the greatest secret. It shouldn't be paraded around to show, oh, we are the best. We are the great acharyas. We are the great sadhus. Raja Guhyam. Pavitram, pure, clean, simple, no second motives, no selfish motives. Pratyakshavagam. This dharma is directly perceived, so it's not a matter of faith. You see, it is like this. We are Atman. We are servants of God. We are parts of God. We are part of the body of God. Okay. Pratyaksha. And susukam. Susukam means very comfortable. That type of dharma sadhana can go on avyayam. without any end, without any difficulty, because it's constant, it's regular, it's something that becomes normal in our life. Compare with the foolish austerities that perform with great effort. So you can do big fasting, this, that, marathon, And also those people who are torturing themselves. Means, their body is not ready, their mind is not ready. So they're putting a big lock, on the sense organs, but their mind is torturing them with the, attachment to material things. That's not going to have good results. Or to cause damage to others. Some people think religious austerity is going out and killing all those who don't worship their particular idea of God. Nope, that's tamas. And then we have, tell.
Yeah, like some people quote this verse saying that doing like Nirahar Ekadashi or Nirjala Ekadashi is torturing yourself. So that should not be done. So is it like how to understand it?
Yeah, okay. Nirahara means fasting. Okay. But another word that is used to indicate fasting is upavas. Upavas means staying near. Now, the one thing that surprised me a lot was about finding out that in the Vedic Hindu tradition, fasting is a very broad term. Like, there are websites, blogs, on the internet with hundreds of recipes for the fasting days. And who is this? Okay. So there are hundreds of recipes for fasting days. Like what? When you need fasting recipes, you're fasting. Fasting means you don't eat. No. In Puri, if people of Puri Vasis, think that fasting means just eating Mahaprasad. Everything, rice, dal, whatever, everything, but Mahaprasad. Because they are not always eating Mahaprasad. They, sometimes they usually they eat other stuff. And, so on and so forth. Nirahara means, is atyahara, is avoiding the atyahara. Krishna in Gita is saying, if someone is moderate in eating and fasting, working and resting, then they can get relief from their sufferings. It's not saying if you fast more, you'll get better results. No, that's not that. Okay, then we have the health fasting, which is a different thing. It's an Ayurvedic, technique to cleanse the body from the impurity, toxins, undigested food, it's and all this old stuff, So I like fasting as a medical treatment, but it should not be done as an austerity, because during the therapeutic fasting, one should just take rest, You can take some warm water with lemon and honey. You can, just, take care of yourself. In the religious fasting, in the upavas, is not particularly abstaining from eating. It's not nirahara. It's about staying near the spiritual consciousness. Now, a big part of our life is about eating. We measure our time between breakfast, lunch, and dinner. And every time we prepare the meal, it takes time and effort, and we need to earn the money for buying the food, and then we need to go and buy the food, get the food, put it together, cook it, prepare it, and then finally we eat, and then we have to digest. In the fasting days, the vrata days, if someone wants to abstain completely from eating, okay, that's an exercise to control the senses, but that happens, one day, But it's not that you need to abstain completely. You don't get a regular meal. Regular meals are usually made of grains, because that's a staple for everybody's food usually. Some people eat bread or roti or rice or whatever else. So during the upavas, we don't get distracted from all this food preparing. So we can eat some fruits, some milk, some fresh milk products. Something simple and easy. And we don't need to spend a lot of time cooking and everything. That's prasadam that we can offer any day, any time. So we it's not that we shouldn't eat at all. We should be moderate, So, of course, in the Vedic system, we have to always consider desha kalapata. We cannot apply the same, precise same rules to everyone. In every situation, at every moment, in every place, because the conditions change. So the external activities also will have to be adapted. But what remains always is the consciousness. And we should, manage ourselves to see when we are doing too much and when we are doing too little. Too much or too little, they're both bad ideas. So too much is not good, too little is not good. Complete fasting for religious purposes, is okay only if you do it as an exercise to control your senses, to see how you're doing, But don't take a sankalpa, because a sankalpa for doing fasting, like nirahara, is moved by self-righteousness. It's moved by rajas, not by sattva. You understand?
Yes, got it.
Any objection to that?
No, no, no.
Okay. Okay. So this is the tamas, performed with great effort. Like who was that? Hiranyakashipu, was there for so long that even his body was consumed by the ants. Like what? That was, the asura. Okay. And then we get into the
Can we start this
charity.
class next time?
Maybe we can continue the charity next time.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay.